Right then, welcome back to the channel and part 3 of our M4D project. If you're not familiar with this project, we bought an M4 replica that you can see behind me right now, and that has got the 35D N57 engine in there. The plan with this project is to make this M4 replica quicker than not just a standard M4, but tuned M4s as well. So we're going to town with this project. Part 2, we laid out all the parts that we're going to be fitting to this. So we've got a brand new hybrid, we've got a custom intercooler core, it's already got a 3.5-inch exhaust system on there. We're going to be playing about with the pistons, it's going to have a nitrous kit on there. The power goal for this project is 600 horsepower plus, which we think is going to be achievable. It's going to be a bit of a challenge. So far with these engines, we have managed to get 475 horsepower. So a lot of this is going to be completely new to us. There's going to be a lot of development work that goes off with this project. But like I said, I think it's achievable. Today, we've got it on the dyno. As mentioned, the only thing that this has got at the minute is the 3.5-inch exhaust system on there. This is still running the tune that came on the car when we purchased it. So I'm not sure what tuning company's done that, but we're going to run it up and find out what power it's doing now. Then we're going to flash it back to stock, see what it's doing in completely stock form, other than the exhaust. And then we're going to do his own custom tune on it and see where we're at then. So at least Dan can then run round on our tune, know that it's 100% safe until we get onto the hardware mods. So let's run it up, see what it does. So we've just ran up the M4D. As mentioned before, this is currently on the tune that we purchased the car with, and other than that, just a 3.5-inch exhaust system. So not too bad. It's done 369 horsepower, probably a little bit down on torque to what we'd normally expect, about 525 foot-pound. The tune itself doesn't actually look too bad, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to improve on that. So let's flash it back stock. We'll get a nice baseline figure with the stock software, and then we'll let the tuners work their magic and do his own tune. So, as you've just seen, we've run it up again with the stock software on there. It is good to know that we've got a nice, healthy baseline figure, which is 310 horsepower and 470 foot-pound of torque. If you are familiar with the 35D engine that's in the F series, these out of the factory should be 313 horsepower, so we're pretty much exactly where we need it to be, within margin of the dyno. As I mentioned, it's good to know we've got a nice healthy platform to do the next stage, which is a custom remap. So I'm going to let the tuners crack on. We'll flash on the Darkside custom tune, and then we'll see what improvement can be made on the tune that this car was purchased with. So the tuners have worked their magic, and as predicted, we have managed to get a little bit more power out of this with our own tune on there. So let's have a look what it's done. So as we've already seen with the standard tune on there, 310 horsepower. With the tune it got purchased on, 369 horsepower, and we are now with the Darkside custom tune on there, 391 horsepower. And then a nice improvement on the torque as well, so just over 600 foot-pound now. Again, you can see the improvement over the stock file and the previous tune. So what we're probably going to do next is some testing with the draggy. So again, we've got a nice baseline 0 to 60 figure, maybe 100 to 200 figure. So then when we do go for the big turbos and the rest of the engine build and nitrous, we know exactly what we're comparing it to as it was when we first got it. I think the only other thing that this is going to potentially get before it gets the full engine build in there is the new intercooler. So if you watch the previous video, we've got a performance Garrett core that we're going to build a custom intercooler for this platform. It's going to need custom end tanks. The core itself is capable of well over 700 horsepower, so it should be a nice improvement. The tuners have said that this on the dyno today is struggling a little bit with inlet air temperatures, which we already know the standard intercoolers on the F series platform are pretty poor, which is why we normally put our bolt-on intercooler upgrade on there. But this one, because it is going 600 horsepower, we're going to go with the Garrett custom one. So yeah, the next bit of this video is either going to be the intercooler fitting or some performance runs. So we are finally out in the 435D. It's been Christmas, it's been New Year, so this road test is actually quite a few weeks on from when we pulled it off the dyno in the last bit of this video, but finally got it out. Still not ideal conditions. We've had snow, we've had, to be fair, we've not even had a lot of rain, but the roads are still quite wet and greasy, so not the ideal conditions to be doing any 0 to 60 times or any other dragging times for that matter. We will try and get some over the next couple of weeks, so we can put some figures in, maybe in the intro or maybe in the outro of this video, just so we've kind of got a baseline of what this does with the remap. As you saw in the last bit of this video, we made a nice improvement not only on the stock figures, so when we flashed it back to stock, we saw 310 horsepower. I think the remap that was purchased, that was on this car when we purchased it, I think that did 360 odd horsepower, and then with our own custom remap we saw 391 horsepower and just over 600 foot-pound of torque. So in terms of a car, a factory car that you can just remap and see good performance figures from, I will go as far as saying that these 35D engines, the N57s, are probably up there with the best, especially the best diesel engines. I don't think there's that many other diesel cars that you can buy that is very practical as a daily, not overly expensive as a car to purchase. Really nice spec, inside and out, very nice looking car, I think the 4 Series. And yeah, in terms of kind of getting close to 400 horsepower out of it, for me, it's probably up there with one of the best dailies. Obviously, this model that we've purchased isn't exactly standard, being an M4 rep. We've already had a look in previous videos, but it's a really nice spec. Loads of carbon inside, loads of carbon outside. It's actually a really nice place to be. Dan's recently had the steering wheel trimmed, which is really nice, a mixture of leather and Alcantara. Not sure why that guy would just stood in the middle of the road. Flappy paddles, we've added some decent carbon fibre flappy paddles now. I did slag him off in a previous video because I think he bought some off Wish and they were just crap, to be fair. So yeah, we've got some decent flappy panels on there if you want to stick it in manual mode. We'll leave it in auto for now. just until the engine gets warmed up. It's worth also noting as well, since we've done the front brake upgrade, the brakes in this seem very, very good. The suspension, we've got the Bilstein Club Sport coilovers on. Although they are more track focused, this doesn't feel out of place on the road. Still quite comfortable, handles pretty well. Maybe a little bit stiff for the road, but I'm sure this will be seeing some track time at some point in its life. So yeah, I think we've got a nice platform here to build on, especially when it comes to the bigger performance increases. The last thing you want, if we do achieve the 600 horsepower that we're aiming for, is saggy suspension and crap brakes. It's not going to be a good combination. Saying that, it reminds me of the Peugeot 205 Cabriolet that we did. Not a massive amount of power in that. I think it did 230 horsepower, but 230 horsepower in something that weighs, what, 900 kilo I think it was, on standard suspension, standard brake, other than pads maybe. That felt leery. Yeah, watch that video, it's a good one. On a side note, while we're in Dan's car, and I've noticed this with all of Dan's cars that he's ever owned, there's always multiple California Scents cherries. It's quite a potent smell in here at the moment. We've got 3 in the centre console, I've got 1 in this door card, and I've got 1 in the other door card. So if you've ever smelt them, they're quite strong just with 1, and I've got 5 in here at the minute, so if I end up passing out, that's why. So now we're getting up to temperature. You can really tell that the exhaust that we've done on this, custom exhaust, makes a nice difference to the sound. I think diesels in general get a lot of stick for not sounding good, but I do beg to differ. There's a lot of diesels out there that sound really nice. Maybe I'm biased, but I think the 3 litre V6 TDI in the Audis, etc. sounds especially nice with exhaust systems on. Not droney, which is what you want from something that you're going to be cruising around in. It's a daily car, this. I'm not sure if we've noted that or made it known in the other videos that when we're trying to achieve this 600 horsepower figure, that's not to say this is going to be an all-out drag car. We're not trying to get any diesel records as such with it, but we do want to push these engines and see how far we can take them to make big power but still be able to drive it daily. That's the main thing for this project. We want to be able to take this to the VMAX event, Santa Pod. There's been rumours that we might even take this to Street Weekend this year, once it's all built. Who knows? But that's the plan. Fruity. So we're all warmed up. So as soon as we get a nice, safe bit of road to do so, we'll give it a little squirt. That picks up quick. I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've drove a kind of fast diesel, one of these 35D engines, and I forgot actually how quick these are. So, owning an M car myself, so I've got an M2 OG, 370 horsepower, probably a little bit lighter than this. I'll be honest, I think this would give it a run for its money. I think this would have it. Maybe not on a track. I think the M2 is definitely more a track orientated car, but I think if you put them both side to side on a bypass, I think this would have it. Especially from a standing start, being X-drive, and the M2 being rear wheel drive. I don't think that M2 would have a chance at all, to be fair. I'm impressed. Fast. Definitely fast. So as I was saying at the beginning bit of this road test, for a car, a diesel car that you can use daily, still get decent MPG and have nearly 400 horsepower of a 600 foot-pound of torque, this is definitely one of the best daily cars you can buy, in my opinion. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think the F-Series 35D is up there with one of the best daily cars you can buy? If you don't agree with me, pop in the comments what you think is the best daily car you can buy. Be interesting to see what you guys put in the comments. So I'm going to end this video here. The next installment for this project is likely going to be the front mount intercooler. We're going to be doing a custom front mount on this with a Garrett core, and the next thing that we're going to be doing, which is quite new on the list of to do, is we're going to be developing a new hybrid turbo. So before we go all out for the 600 horsepower, we actually want to put a more affordable hybrid option on the market. So at the minute, the hybrid that we've got listed for these on our website, we know is capable of 475 horsepower. That's what we've got out of these before. I think for people that kind of just want a little bit more than a remap, or potentially the standard turbos have failed and it's the perfect time to be upgrading, we want to put something on the market that's capable of probably 440 horsepower, nice bolt-on upgrade that you can literally just tune. You probably want to do the intercooler and intake, maybe exhaust at the same time, but I think that'll be a good option rather than the expensive turbo that we've got on the website. I say expensive, it's all relative, but I think off the top of my head, I think it's about 2,700 quid plus VAT maybe. We'll put on the screen what it is exactly at the time of this video. Obviously it might change in the future, but yeah, I think we want, if we can kind of put one on the market that's maybe half of that, and you can still get what, 430, 440 horsepower, I think that'll be a good upgrade to do. So that's next on the list for this M4D. We have still been working on the big 600 horsepower goal in the background. So we've done a lot of development with the head, the pistons. We've already got the turbo. Yeah, cogs are moving and progress is being made on that side of things as well. So if you want to see where we go with this project in the long term, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, please click the like button as well. And we'll see you in the next one.